Welcome to the BettingPros PGA podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice here with Bo McBrayer. We're going to be previewing this week's Rocket Classic in Detroit. We'll discuss the course, the odds, our favorite bets, and we'll make our one and done picks at the end of the show. But let's start with a quick recap of the Travelers Championship. Heartbreak for Tommy Fleetwood in Connecticut. Elation for Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley, who won his second Travelers Championship Sunday on the 72nd hole of the tournament. Travelers wasn't quite the birdie fest we're used to, mainly because of windy conditions on Friday that drove up scores. But Tommy Fleetwood had gotten a 16 under par through 3 rounds. He went into Sunday's round with a 3-shot lead over his final round playing partners Keegan Bradley and Russell Henley, both at minus 13. No one else was really a factor on Sunday other than Jason Day, who got within a shot or two of the lead before running out of holes. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Harris English, all shot 65s on Sunday to get within a few shots of the lead, but they were simply too far back going into Sunday's round to catch up. So things really boiled down to that final threesome of Fleetwood, Bradley, and Henley. Things were looking pretty good for Fleetwood and pretty bad for Bradley after the 14th hole. Bradley was in the middle of the 14th fairway with a sand wedge, hooked it into a bunker, got a fried egg lie, and wasn't able to get his bunker shot anywhere near the hole. After his bogey, he was 3 shots down with 4 holes to play, and Fleetwood still had a 2-shot lead over Henley. Then on the 15th hole, a par 4, playing only 299 yards on Sunday, Keegan Bradley found a bunker with his tee shot and just barely reached the front of the green with his approach. Then Bradley rolled in a 37-foot bomb for birdie to get back to within 2 shots. Fleetwood and Henley both made pars. Then Fleetwood and Henley both bogeyed the par 3 16th. They both overcooked their iron shots, went off the green and back, couldn't get up and down. Bradley had his tee shot to 15 feet and lipped out a birdie putt that would have tied him for the lead. So all 3 players parred the 17th. Fleetwood led Bradley by 1 shot, Henley by 2 shots going into the final hole. Fleetwood and Bradley both found the fairway with their drives. Henley found the thick rough, effectively ending his chances for a win. Fleetwood initially pulled out a 9-iron for his approach from 148 yards, then changed his mind and went with a pitching wedge. I know Michael Kim was on Twitter saying that the wind was hard to judge on the 18th. He also had trouble with club selection. I guess Fleetwood should have stuck with the 9-iron. Came up short of the green with his approach shot, faced a 50-foot chip. Keegan Bradley, meanwhile, stiffed a wedge from 138 yards, giving him a birdie attempt of just under 6 feet. Fleetwood chipped to within 7 feet, but then his par putt appeared to hit a spike mark and missed right. Not sure whether it was going to go in regardless, but that left Bradley with a short birdie putt for the win, and he calmly rolled it in dead center. So, as I said before, it was Keegan Bradley's second Travelers Championship win, and he's gotten both of them in the last 3 years. Also won in 2023. He's a New England native who said this tournament is like a 5th major to him. This was Keegan Bradley's first victory of 2025, and it will no doubt increase the chatter about the possibility of Keegan Bradley picking himself to play when he captains the U.S. Ryder Cup team in the fall. Keegan also paid off for those of us who had him at 35-1. And as for poor Tommy Fleetwood, he has now had 42 top 10 finishes on the PGA Tour without a victory. He seems like one of the nicest guys on tour. He faced the media afterward and answered questions about losing a tournament he had in his grasp. He truly did face the music. It's hard not to feel for the guy. Bo, your thoughts on the Travelers Championship?
It was a really entertaining tournament all the way throughout. I was pulling for Tommy Fleetwood as a person who's never once bet for Tommy Fleetwood to win and still haven't. I might start betting on him to win because what I saw for the first 3 days was pretty much business as usual for Tommy Fleetwood. Took a nice 3-shot lead into Sunday, but he was the only guy in the final 3 or 4 groups that shot over par for the day. And although the wind was up and a little swirly on Sunday, there were good scores on the course, but it didn't come down to the 72nd hole, even though it was a very momentous 2-shot swing between those playing partners. That whole round for Tommy Fleetwood was a disaster. I think he had 3 putts. His approach game was atrocious. He was missing fairways early in the round, which cost him a lot of strokes. He gave away that 3-shot lead within 2 or 3 holes. It was a mess. He was all out of sorts, and it really begs a question of, can he win anywhere? Like, he won earlier in the year on the DP World Tour. We know he can win, but this is the kind of performance on a Sunday with a 3-shot lead in a field that was very strong. He couldn't even muster an even par round, which would have made him win pretty easily. The pressure was on him instantly. 3-shot lead, you're going in, make a couple pars, you're still, the pressure is on everybody in the pack to catch you. He goes out and makes bogeys on the first 3 or 4 holes, and all of a sudden his lead's gone, and everybody else in the pack has kind of got renewed hope, including Scheffler and McIlroy and all those guys that didn't quite have enough. But it was really dicey, even on the front 9. I didn't expect to see Tommy Fleetwood stressing by the 6th hole, but here we were. Very entertaining tournament, one of the best tournaments to watch on TV for the whole season, with the crowds the way they were behind Bradley. Keegan's a neurotic, totally weird dude, but you find yourself rooting for a guy like that to make that comeback, even at the expense of somebody who you can't really dislike, because Tommy Fleetwood's just class personified. But you can always root for Captain America, and he might not even have to pick himself, because at his current rate, he's going to be an automatic lock pick in the top 6.
He is very close to qualifying automatically. I want to say he's like 8th or 9th in points
He's
right
eighth.
now.
He's 8th right now.
So yeah, he is very close, and like, hats off to the guy. Like, and yes, he can be a tough watch because he is one fidgety fellow out there on the golf course. But
it makes my blood pressure kind of go up as a person who plays really chill and relaxed on the golf course. I hardly ever take practice swings, and he's out there doing 4 to 5 twirls of his club each time before he even addresses the ball. And you're like, oh my God, dude, just chill.
But yeah, he hit 2 money shots in that turn, like down the stretch when he needed it most. He flirted with the water on the 16th hole, knew he had to get it close. And to do that, you have to come pretty close to the water, just barely cleared it, came to within 15 feet and almost had the birdie putt, just lipped it out. But then that shot on the 18th was just gorgeous. I mean, perfect wedge shot. And that was the kind of shot Tommy Fleetwood needed to close the deal at some point on the back 9.
Well, Tommy, the whole day, was playing not to lose. And as we know in all sports, that's the quickest, surefire way to lose is when you're playing to not lose. Keegan Bradley was aggressive all day. He made some mistakes, which is what happens when you play aggressively. But down the stretch, he played aggressively and was really precise with his iron shots. And Keegan Bradley, with a good iron game and some putts falling, is a dangerous player, as we saw again. Fleetwood just completely went conservative the whole day, and it shot him in the foot, because he doesn't hit a pitching wedge 148 in neutral wind. That was kind of a hurting crosswind, which he misread. And you can't be short on that hole location means you're short-sighted, either in that fringe or the front bunker that he had to carry. And he didn't even carry to the bunker. He was left and short, and of course left himself after his chip. He was still right outside of Bradley's line and gave him the teach for the tournament winning putt. And hitting the pitch mark or whatever it was definitely a bump on the green that he didn't see when he was reading the putt, which I find baffling that you wouldn't see something on the green that you could fix, because now you can fix spike marks, you can fix ball marks, you can brush debris out of your line, you can do whatever you want. He didn't see that. I can't believe he didn't see that bump on the green that he could have fixed, because it was 7 feet? 7 feet outside the left edge, and he hit it dead center. He must have pushed it a good 3 inches, because I doubt whether it would have made it even if it didn't hit the pitch mark. The way Bradley's rolled in on the same line, he was outside the left edge, and it rolled perfectly dead center.
Tommy could have used more help from his caddy on club selection and green reading there, Bo. I don't know what.
Or just stick to your guns and have the mental authority to make a decision and just stick with it and go for it like Keegan did. Keegan played how a champion plays, and Tommy played like a guy with 42 top 10s without a victory.
For Tommy's sake, we're going to close the curtain on the Travelers Championship and switch over to the Rocket Classic. We'll do that in just a moment, right after Bo McBrayer tells you about the BettingPros app.
Download the free BettingPros app for iOS and Android. With Sportsbook Sync, automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Go ahead and easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. Create your own custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get your own 7-day free trial of BettingPros Premium by downloading the app at bettingpros.com/apps using the code JUICE and activating your trial on the upgrade screen.
The Rocket Classic returns to the Detroit Golf Club, relatively new venue on the PGA Tour. I believe this will be the 6th year at it. It's a course designed by Donald Ross, a 7,370-yard par 72. This is going to be a birdie fest. In the 6 years that this tournament has been played, so I guess this is going to be the 7th year at Detroit Golf Club. In the previous 6 years, the winning score has been 23 under par or better 4 times. The other 2 times the winning score was 18 under par. Players are going to have to go low this week if they want to get their hands on the trophy. This is a bomb and gouge course. Hit driver, attack pins with a wedge or a short iron, make a lot of putts. The fairways are relatively wide and flat, one of the flattest courses on tour. The rough is not especially thick and penal, so big hitters do have an advantage this week. The greens at Detroit Golf Club are on the small side, and they are a blend of bent grass and POA, just like we saw this past week at TPC River Highlands. Cam Davis is the defending champ. He was 18 under par here last year to win by 1 stroke over Minwoo Lee, Aaron Rai, Davis Thompson, and most notably, Akshay Bhatia, who missed a 4-foot par putt on the final hole that would have forced a playoff. Cam Davis has won here twice. He beat Joaquin Niemann and Troy Merritt in a playoff in 2021. Other recent winners, Ricky Fowler finished minus 24 and beat Collin Morikawa and Adam Hadwin to win here in 2023. And Tony Finau finished minus 26 here in 2022 to win in a runaway by 5 shots. Temperatures in Detroit are expected to be in the mid to upper 80s throughout the tournament. There are afternoon rain chances Thursday and Friday. Winds are expected to be light throughout the week, except possibly on Friday when they could be in the 10 to 15 mile per hour range. Bo, what is it going to take for these players to conquer the Detroit Golf Club?
Well, in classic Donald Ross design form, it's going to be a second shot golf course, and that leads into a putting contest. So your longest hitters have the advantage because there's almost no lateral hazards here, whether it's sand or water. The only real downfall to not winning at this tournament is not making enough birdies. And the guys we usually see win here are long hitters who are also good putters. That kind of thing. And also, if you're closer to the green after your long drive, you have a shorter, more easy approach shot. And so approach game does matter because you want to be close to these pins enough to have real birdie opportunities. But it's bomb and gouge. It's make a lot of putts. And I mean a lot of putts. If you don't make putts this week, you are going to be way behind. It's a really fun tournament for scoring because there's going to be a lot of it. Detroit Golf Club it's pretty vanilla. It's not remarkable in any way. But the field is pretty strong. I think without even the top guys in the field, it's still pretty strong. You got Patrick Cantlay, who's had success here before. You have Collin Morikawa. There are some big names here that should do well, but the question will be, are they going to do well enough to beat some up-and-coming aggressive players who are going to be playing to win a big check?
Yeah, it's not a top-heavy field, but it's deep. Like there's
Deep.
some really interesting mid-range and longer shot options. So we'll get to the Travelers Championship odds in just a moment, but first, a quick word about No Vig.
Are you looking for a smarter way to play? There's a new sports trading platform that's changing the game. It's called Novig. It's legal in most states, including Georgia, California, and Texas. It's peer-to-peer, which means you're competing against other users, not the house. You can often get better lines than traditional books. You can set your own lines, which gives you control most sports books just don't offer. There are no commissions or hidden fees. Seriously. It uses a coin deposit system, but it's real money. And you can use code DAILYJUICE for 50% off your first coin purchase up to $25. Check it out now at bettingpros.com/juice. That's bettingpros.com/juice. And our colleague Mike Mara is on it every stinking day. He's a Novik fanatic, always dropping screenshots, pics, you name it, trash talk in the Discord. If you have questions, Mike Mara is happy to help.
Let's get to the Rocket Classic odds. All odds are courtesy of DraftKings as of Monday. No Scotty, no Rory. So Collin Morikawa is the betting favorite at plus 1,200. Keegan Bradley is plus 1,600. Patrick Cantlay plus 1,800. Ben Griffin plus 2,200. Cameron Young is plus 2,800. Hideki Matsuyama, Harry Hall, and Siwoo Kim are plus 3,000. Keith Mitchell and Max Grazerman are plus 3,500. And at plus 4,000 are Luke Clanton, Wyndham Clark, Tony Finau, and Ricky Fowler. Where is the betting value with this group, Bo?
It's all the way at the bottom. I like I like skipping Morikawa, even though I think he should do fine here. I don't know if he makes enough birdies. Keegan Bradley is hot, but it's hard to bet a guy with an emotional victory at home the week before. Cantlay can't get out of his own way this season. Ben Griffin is better on longer courses that require more of less of the short iron approaches. He's not really a bomber, even though he's added distance. Cam Young never wins anything, so it leaves me all the way down to starting my card at Harry Hall at 30-1. Harry Hall, the Englishman, has 7 top 20 finishes in a row. That's really good. And he actually had to get IV fluids before Saturday's round at the championship, and was in the hospital tent for most before he could tee off on Saturday. That tells you that he's a gamer. And as he succinctly put it, how many of you guys out there, if you were going to make $250,000 that day, were going to call out sick and miss out on that payday?
Good point.
So Harry Hall playing great golf. He fits this golf course like a glove. He scores a ton of birdies. He's a very aggressive player with a magical short game, good putting stroke. I really like the value there at 30-1 for his talent, and his just form is so good right now. And then at 40-1, I'm going to take another stab at Luke Clanton, because that dude has all the talent in the world. And if you're going to go in a birdie fest, you want to bring the guy who's got the RPG grenade launcher for just aggressive play and the ability to go super low. He's the one guy in this field I can actually see going 28 under.
Yeah, 21-year-old Luke Clanton does hit it a mile. He finished 10th in Detroit last year. He's shown a little bit of aptitude for this course. So we know about that first tour win is coming. It's coming real soon.
Very soon.
And it would not surprise me at all if it was this week. I'm with you on kind of fading Morikawa, like 5th in the world rankings, one of the best iron players on the planet. Finished second here in 2023. Yeah, I mean, this tournament largely boils down to putting, and Morikawa ranks 109th in strokes gained putting. I'm with you, Keegan. He's made 4 trips to Detroit Club for this event. Best finish was a 14th, and you have to figure he's just emotionally spent coming off the big win. Patrick Cantlay did finish second here in 2022, coming off a 12th place finish at the Travelers. Now has 4 straight top 15 finishes in non-majors, but you're right, Bo. He just can't get out of his way this year. Cameron Young does offer sort of a nice combination of recent form and course fit. He was 4th at the Canadian Open, 4th at the U.S. Open, both earlier this month, although he was only 52nd last week at the Travelers. But in his last 2 Rocket Classics, Young finished 6th and 2nd. As you said, though, to bet him to win, it's kind of like betting Tommy Fleetwood. So
it's exactly like betting Tommy Fleetwood. It's a 0% win percentage, 0. And actually, Tommy Fleetwood's better because he's actually won 8 times abroad. Cameron Young's never won anything at any professional level, maybe except for Korn Ferry. I don't even know the fact on that other than at the top level. He has not won any tournaments despite coming close many, many times. Great skill set. Very, 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 very bad putter. He makes Collin Morikawa look like Brad Faxon. So Cam Young, top 5 bet, you might be able to sell me on that one. But as far as an outright bet, no.
40-1 seems like a great price for Tony Finau.
Yeah.
On a tournament like this, where he's won with a 26 under par score, but he just hasn't been showing us the top-notch ball striking that he's known for. Like he is outside the top 70, I want to say, in like strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained on approach.
Not good at all. We used to call this the Tony Finau Open because we could figure like he was always showing up to play well, at least at Detroit and sometimes at the John Deere. But it was like this is the type of tournament where Tony Finau does thrive because it's not difficult. We don't see Tony Finau show up very well on tough golf courses. So I guess this is what we get is Tony Finau on an easier golf course with lots of scoring opportunities. I still have my doubts, but 40-1 is tempting.
Before we move on, Bo, I got to mention one other guy in this group, Keith Mitchell, back in action after
first round leader.
How are we getting first round leader odds of 55-1 on Keith Mitchell that are
it's on
lower?
My sheet right here? It's on my sheet too. Like we independently, apart from one another, are going to both bet Keith Mitchell first round leader at 55-1. It's a lock.
And he's 35-1 to win the tournament, and like Mr. Thursday, Keith Mitchell's 55-1 for the first round leader bet. I'm all over that. Yeah. And
it seems like stealing because he's been first round leader 3 times this year already.
Yes,
and it's also he popped up as number 2 in my model, completely number 2 above everybody else, and so yeah, I don't think he'll win because again, terrible putter. Like one of the worst putters in the pro realm. He's in that territory, but really good ball striker, makes a lot of birdies because he typically is really good on approach. And that is what it will take this week.
And he has missed the cut in his last 2 Rocket Classics, but hey, we're betting him on Thursday. He's Mr. Thursday. Cash that first round leader
55-1
bet, and then
55-1.
Don't worry about what Keith Mitchell does the next 3 days or maybe the next 1 day, depending on how things go. All right, let's run through more of the odds. And by the way, that was for all of you who have asked us to talk more about first round leader bets in the YouTube comments. So there you go. More odds. Akshay Bhatia, Davis Thompson, Rasmus Højgaard, and Minwoo Lee are plus 4,500. Matt Fitzpatrick, Chris Gotterup, and Alex Smalley are plus 5,000. Thorbjorn Olesen, Taylor Moore, Ryan Gerard, and Alex Norn are plus 5,500. Michael Kim and Matt Wallace are plus 6,000. Kurt Kitayama, Steven Yeager, and Ben On are plus 6,500. Nikolai Højgaard is plus 7,000. And at plus 7,500, Tom Kim, Emiliano Grillo, Michael Thorbjornsen, and Max Homa. What about this group, Bo?
This group is interesting because a lot of people are going to bet Akshay. I think his odds are actually going to get shorter, which I'm not a huge fan of. He's already too short at 45-1, in my opinion. Although he's very good with wedge in his hand, his off the tee game is not long. Terrible. He's not a long hitter, and he doesn't. There's no requirement to shape shots on this golf course. So I don't know if he'll have enough birdies in his tank to get it done like he almost did last year. He should have done last year when he was playing out of his mind. All the other guys in the 50-1 range, 55-1, no thank you. Those are all misprices in the wrong direction for us. I do have some interest in Michael Kim, even though he's cooled off. 60-1's tempting. Kurt Kitayama, shout out NorCal. This is exactly the type of golf course where he's shown a penchant this season for missing a lot of putts, but his ball striking has vastly improved, and he's kind of flipped the script on going from a grinder who plays better when the conditions are tough to he's actually had some pretty good birdie making numbers in these sorts of tournaments this season. So I will be betting Kurt Kitayama at 65-1 this week because he has been making birdies. He has been dominating par fives, and his wedge game has really been the catalyst for that. Let's hope he makes more than a couple putts this week, but I have a feeling that those odds are going to be even sweeter as we get closer to Thursday. So I'll be watching Kurt Kitayama's line and kind of loading up my wheelbarrow of betting slips on my guy from Chico, California. So that's definitely going on there. And then Michael Thorbjornsen, talk about a misprice, 75-1. He's got a new caddy, another NorCal guy. These Stanford guys, they all stick together. Michael Thorbjornsen takes over for Cal Bear Collin Morikawa, who relieved Mr. JJ Jakovac, two-time national champion golfer and two-time major winner on the bag with Collin Morikawa. JJ Jakovac is caddying for Michael Thorbjornsen now. I love JJ Jakovac, one of the best caddies in the entire world. To get for Michael Thorbjornsen to get that looper on his bag is a massive jump from what he had before. I think Michael Thorbjornsen is the kind of guy that I would bet an entire ladder on because of who's on his bag. That's a big upgrade for a guy who's young and in the very beginning stages of his very illustrious career coming up.
Andy should be good to go. He was sidelined for a couple of weeks with a wrist injury, I believe.
Yeah, that was over a month ago, and they asked him about it yesterday, and he said it feels, quote, great.
Good news. It's interesting that Akshay Bhatia, Davis Thompson, and Minwoo Lee are all 45-1, and we're all part of that four-way second-place tie last year, but none of them have really been in good form. And I was kind of keeping an eye on Akshay at the Travelers because he was a guy I bet. He struggled. He was just not good. Not hitting it close, missing fairways.
Was not pretty.
Yeah. Taylor Moore has been kind of all over the place this season. 15 events, 5 top 25s, 5 missed cuts. But Taylor Moore is a horse for this course. He's finished 6th, 4th, and 10th at the Rocket Classic the last 3 years. You mentioned Michael Kimbo. He has cooled off after that hot stretch he had in February and March, but 60-1 is a pretty attractive number, and he has some extra motivation this week as he tries to play his way into the Open Championship.
Yeah, he needs a top 5 finish.
Yes, he does. And Emiliano Grillo is kind of interesting. He's had 4 straight top 20s, the last coming at the U.S. Open, ranks in the top 40 in strokes gained and approach, top 50 in strokes gained putting. So I don't mind the price on him either at 75-1. Let's talk about long shots, Bo. Who do you like at odds of 80-1 or longer?
I got to go to another guy that I've met in person who's playing great golf this year, and a guy who really lashes the ball out there a long way and has shown just amazing ball striking this year. Rico Hoey, 80-1 for Rico Hoey, pride of the Philippines. Just a wonderful human and a really good ball striker. This guy can go super low as long as he can make some putts. Another guy cut from the same cloth as Kurt Kitayama, where if the putts are falling, this guy can go really ridiculously low because everything else in his bag seems to be clicking this season. He's had numerous high finishes this year in pretty good fields. So I do think that that's a misprice in our favor. And then I'll wrap up my outright card with a guy who we haven't talked about a lot. I think I've mentioned him a couple times this year, but he's going out at 120-1. Number 1 in my model, Patrick Fishburn. And Patrick Fishburn is just the total package. No real weaknesses. He's not spectacular in any category, but he is top 40 in just about every category that I ran. He is, there's no worse than 57th in any stat in this field. Number 1 off the tee in strokes gained, number 4 in overall ball striking, and number 4 on strokes gained par 5, top 10 in birdie or better percentage. Patrick Fishburn, big misprice, 120-1. This guy can light it up, and I really think he's the kind of guy that can come from deep and like, oh, who's Patrick Fishburn? Well, you heard it here.
I'll throw 2 more long shots out there. I like Jake Knapp at 80-1. Yes. Big hitter who also ranks 72nd in strokes gained putting. That's a pretty good combo for the Detroit Golf Club. Sami Valimaki, 150-1. He's had 2 top 10s this year, ranks 10th in strokes gained putting, 27th in strokes gained on approach. Pretty good price at 150-1. Bo, let's talk about our early. Oh, go ahead.
I have 2 placement bets I want to throw out there for you because, again, in the comments, besides first round leader, they wanted more placement bets.
Okay.
Placement bet number 1, Doug Ghim. He's getting plus 400 odds to finish top 20. I really like his lineup here. Not a bomber, but a very aggressive player who makes a lot of birdies on easier golf courses like this. And finally, if you're going to be betting Sami Valimaki, you also have to have interest in Aldrich Potgieter, right?
Yeah, man. He, after almost winning, what was it, the Mexico Open, where he lost to Campbell, he went into the tank after that. So I mean, we know Potgieter can hit it a mile.
He's got talent. He does. Lots of talent. This course doesn't have any danger to worry about, so it's a lot like Mexico in a
Yeah,
way.
he's interesting. I just worry he went up in a puff of smoke after that tournament, though. That's the only
Yeah, when the
problem.
courses got tough, like after Mexico, the schedule got really difficult, and he faded away quickly because that's not his game
Yep.
at this stage. He's 20 years old. I think he needs a little bit more maturity. And when it comes to playing these PGA Tour level golf courses, I would say Detroit Golf Club is as easy as it gets as something that they play in the contiguous 48 states. So I will be throwing a little top 20 kicker out there for Potgieter, ranging between plus 500 plus 750.
Who's on your early betting card, Bo?
So I have Harry Hall at 30-1. I have Luke Clanton at 40-1. Kurt Kitayama 65-1, Michael Thorbjornsen at 75-1, Rico Hoey 80-1, and Patrick Fishburn at 120-1. I threw in those placement props for top 20 bets on long shots, and of course a very nice little $5 first round leader bet on 55-1 Keith Cashmere Mitchell.
I'm betting Ben Griffin at plus 2,200 with the top 10 kicker at plus 210. I want to ride the hot hand. Griffin has stayed hot. Luke Clanton, I like him too at 40-1. And then I have small outrights on Taylor Moore at 55-1, Jake Knapp at 80-1, and Sami Valimaki at 150-1. And I am also betting Keith Mitchell for first round leader at 55-1. Now
you got a little jingle in your pocket after last week.
That's right. That's right. After having Keegan. And speaking of that, it's time for the one and done picks. I was way behind Bo going into the Travelers Championship, but I took Keegan Bradley last week. He got me a big fat check for winning the last elevated event of the year, $3.6 million. That's more than double the roughly $3.4 million I had banked for the entire season leading up to the Travelers. Bo had Tom Kim. He tied for 54th, earning $54,000, $54,286.71, Bo. And because you're such a good friend, I'm going to chip in 29 cents to round you up to an even dollar figure. But suddenly, Bo, I'm right back on your bumper here.
After winning 3.6 mil, you still have more than $500,000 behind me.
I know that's how far behind I was, but yes, you have a little more than 7.6 million in winnings. I'm just over 7 million in winnings, but suddenly it's a competition again, and I'm up first this week. I'm going to take Ben Griffin. The hot stay hot.
Yeah, and in a cruel twist of fate, the first like lean I had for one and done last week was Fleetwood, which would have been really nice, but I ended up going a completely different direction because I thought I was going to use Fleetwood later for some reason, and now he's not even in the field. It's for me, it's gonna come down to. Have I used Clanton yet? Because I don't think I have.
Right now, you have not used Clanton. He hasn't been in many events this year. So, no, you've not used him yet.
I'm going to use him here. Luke Clanton.
Luke Clanton for you, Ben Griffin for me. And that's going to do it for this week's Betting Pros PGA podcast. Please come join us again next week when we will be previewing the John Deere Classic. Good luck with your bets. Until then, so long, everyone.